Okay. Well, I tell them I'm tired of having to come in the locker room and under such circumstances. We've lost far too many games. Told them that have to play complete ball games in this conference. One half won't do it. We played well, a good portion of the time on offense, or some of the time on offense, some of the time on defense, but not consistently enough. Didn't play both halves. Alex, bar the interception, I thought played well. Made a couple mental mistakes, but so does everybody else. But overall, you grade out pretty well. Just like to have the interception back, and he would too. Well, it's just that some of the things we were doing, we didn't have a running back in the ball game at all. I mean, it was just because of the nature of what we were doing. Part of it was a quarterback run game for the most part. Well, I mean, he stayed out. He stayed ahead of some pretty good speed, so he ran well. Major thing it showed me was we did a nice job blocking up front, and he made the right decision and got in the right place with the ball. And as I said, nobody caught him. Well, we just obviously didn't play well, and we gave up big plays, throughout the course of the ball game, but mostly in the second half. And you just can't do it against a team like that. And you let them get down, going in or in the red zone, as everybody refers to it, and then Baker really can do some amazing things. Then he adds his feet to the game, during that period of time, and so you got too many people to have to defend against. But Baker is a very tremendous player, which he's proven day in and day out. I mean, he didn't need me to say that, but he throws the ball. He handles the game so very, very well. I admire the way he finds the open receivers. You got a lot of people running routes out there, and he always gets the one that's got some room to throw the ball to. He's a good player, good leader. Well, part of it was Oklahoma playing better and making some adjustments in the locker room, I would think, and part of it is execution. It missed a few blocks. I mean, it's a combination of things. Well, I think there was enthusiasm going into the ball game, and there was enthusiasm, going into the second half, and I just encouraged them, number one, don't take it for granted, but number two, I reminded them, which I had before, that, Oklahoma was a team that had been dramatically outscored in the second half of every conference ball game that they had played, leading in the first half and given ground in the second half. And I didn't want them to take it for granted, but I wanted them to know that it was still important for us to play that next 30 minutes, and hopefully that never thought in terms of anything other than it just being a 0-0 ball game, which we always address, but and talked again about, if I recall correctly, talk about the effort and the execution and the spirit and the toughness and determination that it takes to finish the ball game, but realizing again that each player probably gets 40 snaps at max in the second half of the ball game, and that's 6 seconds of snap, so they're really only going to play about four plus minutes. Hopefully everybody had it in them to handle that. So I don't think that we I would hate to think that we got gassed. If that was, I don't think it was. It's not a conditioning factor because I think we conditioned well enough. It's just some letdowns and made some mistakes and made some execution mistakes and a couple of mental mistakes that were costly. Tackling was an issue for us in the second half. Well, it was in the first half too, but in the second half, obviously, the one they ran into or a touchdown was we bounced off of him as well. So a lot of things. Well, I think he'll be. Yeah, he'll be back, and I'm pretty certain, based on, what they're telling me, that he'll be able to go next week. Well, I'm probably a little different than most. I mean, they're all painful, regardless, of what the score might have been, and and who it happens to be against. I was, for our players, I'm encouraged that they, that we put some very we played well enough at times to be a successful football team. We did that. That's what I was saying a little bit ago. We played well enough offensively during a segment of the ball game to be a very fine football team. We played well enough defensively, at a segment of the ball game to be a very fine defensive football team. But we didn't put it all together, and that's the nature of it. So that's what's disappointing to me as much as anything. Well, I mean, there's a reason they were the backups at the time, but they practice every day just like everybody else, and they get almost an equal amount of repetition. It's not game experience, but they've had, they understand what we're doing and how we're supposed to do it anyway. So, yeah. Okay, thank you.